WCB Podcast, your source for all things Chicago Blackhawks and everything hockey. With your host, Jarom and Tanner. Let's do it. Jarom and Tanner.
All right, it's another edition of the WCB Podcast, a part of the Hockey Podcast Network, presented by DraftKings. It's Jarom, it's Tanner. What's up, bud?
Let's do it again. Feels good. Hockey, great. Hawks hockey, not so great. It's coming to an end, though. Playoffs are about to start. Pretty hype right now. Our biggest part of the season this is going to be coming up soon, which is the draft lottery. But the way the season's ending for a lot of teams is pretty freaking cool.
I was trying to figure out when was the last time the season has come down to the wire like this and was like this many questions going into game 81 and 82.
Last year had it kind of a close one, right? With the way Pittsburgh fell off after losing. Wait, no, did Pittsburgh made it?
No, Pittsburgh missed last year.
Did they miss it last year? Why do I feel like they made it? That's so weird. Yeah, that's strange. But them not winning in the last few games, same with Buffalo and all that shit. But this one I think was it hasn't been as intense for the last 4 or 5 games of the season for 4 to 5 teams.
Yeah, I mean the last spot in the East went down to literally one game yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about it, and then you get the Western Conference. There's only one series determined right now.
Yeah, it's a lot up in the air in the West.
So I mean, this is if you want the drama, you want the entertainment, this has been the season for you. But we'll get into that here in a second. Let's talk a little bit of Hawks talk. We're not going to focus too much on the Blackhawks because, they went 0 for 4 last week, or since we last recorded, and they got nothing to play for. And we'd much rather talk about fun times and playoff hockey. But we do have some housekeeping notes here to do with the Blackhawks, and it's kind of exciting. The first note is Landon Slaggert. First NHL goal finally comes in. No review, no take back, no hitting defenseman on the empty net. Fucking roofed it against St. Louis.
It was a beauty.
The lone highlight in that game, by the way, which was just an absolute shit show of a game.
Yeah, the game starts out 4 shots, 4 goals, and I'm like, oh no, not against St. Louis. But I mean, I think at the time they were still technically in a playoff position or playoff eligible. And then I was like, man, we can knock them out. And then we lost, but they still ended up getting kicked anyway. So I was like, whatever, consolation prize, doesn't matter.
This would have been sweeter if we were the ones to knock them. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. But what a beautiful goal by Slaggert. That was awesome.
Then the next bit of information or housekeeping note here is there was the big question mark we've talked about this time a lot on the show this year is will he not make the jump from college hockey to the NHL? And Frank Nazar, is it Nazar or Nazar? They've been saying Nazar, right?
Have they been saying Nazar? I always say Nazar. I don't know.
That's all I would say too. I think they're saying Nazar, but Frank Nazar.
Yeah, it's whatever I'm not saying, which is probably Nazar.
So Frank Nazar. News breaks Saturday night that he is signing his entry-level deal with the Blackhawks. And a lot of players that sign their entry-level deal that goes in effective next season. Ben Pope drops the bomb. No, it is effective immediately.
Yeah, it's with a lot of college guys, that's what happens. That's the whole reason why they sign after the end of the season is because then typically it burns a year off their contract, which is why it's more enticing for them to sign at the end of the year and for the team to be we'll burn a year if you want to come, commit to the team. So I think that was I think it's a good situation because then he's on the same contract length as Bedard
and Korchinski,
which I think is a good deal because Bedard's obviously going to be the highest paid player on the team. So even if Nazar is Nazar is fucking amazing and plays incredibly well over the next 2 seasons, he's still not going to be pulling more than Bedard.
Right.
And Bedard's setting the bar.
Nazar only 2 years to kind of prove what kind of contract he gets on his next contract is worth versus Bedard's 3. But a lot of people were questioning this, and I think like this says a lot more to the direction of the future of this team than people realize. Like I think Kyle Davison signing him, burning his first year of his entry level deal on 3 games, he shows his cards a little bit about what his direction going forward with this rebuild, and he's showing his commitment to making sure the young core is in place, getting the best opportunity to come in and start playing as soon as he sees that they're ready. There's no waiting an entire season. There's no waiting like X amount of time. He says, "Hey, you're good to go. Let's get you in here. Let's start working it. Let's start building this chemistry." And you're going to get these young players coming in and these prospects coming in, getting NHL experience while this team is still in rebuild mode. And then you're going to know what you have from these players, and then you can plan accordingly with the signings and trades around the league.
I think one of the nice things for Nazar too, like getting this deal done, gives him the whole summer basically to get set up in Chicago.
Yeah.
Like get acclimated to the city. Like I'm sure he had a signing bonus, right? It was like $95K.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
$95K signing bonus to play 3 games on this year. And yeah, like I mean, you basically get to spend the summer in Chicago figuring everything out when like doing workouts with teammates and stuff if you want to. Like how fucking cool is that? Like you just played in Michigan and now you're going to be heading to Chicago.
You're literally like 48 hours out of playing in the Frozen Four, going from the national championship to signing your entry level deal, going to Chicago and playing in your first NHL game in the United Center in front of an almost sold out Madhouse crowd.
Yeah. And then not only that, he gets to jump on a plane with the Hawks and fly to fucking Vegas.
Right?
It's like, yeah, you didn't really get to go to Vegas in college hockey. It's like I mean, maybe he still got some of that signing bonus, but first time in Vegas with the boys on the Hawks, like maybe he doesn't have it anymore.
You get to spend in Vegas and you're not playing for anything. You're just playing, get through 82 games.
Yeah, he's only 20 though, so maybe he's not able to go gambling. But
I'm sure there's 18 year and older kind of places out there.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people online thinking that like just because it's his entry level deal that he wasn't gonna play like the 10 full games, that like it was gonna slide, but that's not how that rule works at all.
It's junior hockey only.
No, it's not. It's
not.
It's 18 or 19-year-old, because like Logan Cooley, his contract would have slid, but he has to go to the AHL, so AHL games don't apply. You just typically see it with CHL players because college hockey kids, like as soon as they sign, they can't play college hockey.
That's okay. That makes sense now. Yeah, I guess I never really thought about it that way.
Honestly, it's on. I looked it up on Cap Friendly. They have a good explanation. So it's if you sign your ELC at age of 18 or 19, or honestly, you can sign it at 20 as long as you were 19 before September 15th of your signing year. So he signed in 2024 and he's already 20, even though he started the year at 19. But that means that he burns that year because it doesn't count as a slide rule candidate.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense then.
Yeah, so that's why you see guys like Paul Ludwinski, because I'm on Cap Friendly right now, Gavin Hayes and Samuel Savoie. I think that's how you pronounce his name, or Savoy. They had signed their ELCs when they were 19 or 18. And so that's why their contract slides, because they haven't done that like 9-10 game thing.
Interesting. I just always assumed that was a junior rule only.
Yeah, it makes the most sense because that's the only time it typically applies is for juniors, because not most of the time you're not getting guys signing contracts out of college to go play in the AHL.
Right.
Like those guys are signing their contracts and then they're joining the NHL team for them pretty much however much time it is. Like if it's at the end of the year,
unless there are some
counts, I don't know.
There are some that sign their contract that's effective the following season, and then they sign an ATO with the team's like minor league team.
Yeah, that's one of the things too. Actually, recently, Martin Misyak, he signed an ATO with Rockford like same day. Which I don't know what that's about because he can't join for the Nazar can't play in the playoffs for Rockford either.
Right.
So like it's too late for them to like sign and join them. So I don't know what the ATO for
because you had to do. That's why too. Like you saw a lot of random like waiver or send downs around the trade deadline time because it was like they have to be on the roster to be eligible. The same thing like
it's either it's like a minimum amount of games or like on the roster by a certain date, right? Isn't that what it is?
Yeah. Okay. That's like why too, like people were talking about like Phil Kessel, like, oh, he's got to sign by the trade deadline so he can play in the playoffs kind of thing. Like, but yeah, back to Nazar. Yeah, again, just this youth movement is alive and well in Chicago. I mean, that entire roster on Sunday, like it was a good glimpse at what the future core could potentially be, minus Oliver Moore and Sam Renzel. Those are the two bigger name prospects I think right now that haven't had their shot with the team.
Yeah, but those I think Renzel is 2 years out of his draft year, and Oliver Moore is only 1 year out. But Renzel was more of we knew when he was drafted it was going to be a longer time frame because he was drafted out of Minnesota high school hockey.
Yeah,
and then I think he played actually USHL, and then this is his first year at NCAA.
Yeah.
Just real quick to go back to like the slide rule, like Adam Fantilli and Leo Carlson were both like eligible for the slide rule if they had played like less than 9 games. So they would end both of them because they're, I mean, obviously not junior hockey. They would have had to go back to the AHL. So if they spent most of the year in the AHL, then it still would have slid for them.
Where did Leo Carlson play?
He was in Sweden, right?
Oh yeah, okay. So that okay, so it's essentially
he was in
that applies everywhere, every league.
SHL.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's just that NHL only has that weird deal with the Canadian Junior Hockey League that like if a team isn't playing somebody who's like eligible for that league on the NHL team, then they go and they have a contract. Even if they do, or if they have a contract, they still go back to the CHL.
Makes more sense now,
right?
Yeah. So, all right. So Nazar, God, I'm gonna have to fucking work on that one. Nazar makes his debut, and boy, he was fucking buzzing. Like he even talked about it like post game. Like it really helps coming from the University of Michigan. He's like the way they're coached out there is that they are prepared for like all situations. They're taught to play a certain way, and it translates really well to NHL style. And because of that, he was able to get thrown right in. He got power play time on the second unit. He was put in situations that you might not think somebody making their debut would be in. The biggest takeaway I took from watching his first NHL game, and let's back up here real quick. Let's remember too, he's making his debut against the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah.
Who are currently like the odds book favorite to win the Stanley Cup this year.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like this is a no joke team. This isn't like making your debut against San Jose or the Ducks or something like that. This is a team that is getting
a contender. It is a contender.
Yeah, getting ready to go for the long haul.
A favorite.
And he was fucking singing with them. Like the first thing that really I noticed about him is like his speed, man. He is so quick, getting to the puck, putting a body in, and he's not afraid to muck it up either. Like he wasn't backing off. I had a couple times where Brent Burns had a very good look at him, and I was like, okay, is he going to back off a little bit? And no, he just went right in, right for the puck. First real good opportunity he had was on the power play, and his positioning is just fantastic. He finds himself in the front of the net, right there, has an empty net, goes for the nice little easy put away. And Carolina, I forgot what defenseman, but just great stick check to able to chip it wide. Didn't have to wait long though for his first goal. It was about, I want to say a couple minutes after that, 2 shifts after that. Seth Jones breaks out of the zone, makes a fantastic pass to him breaking up the middle. He gets a semi breakaway, and goes and just buries it, and then has these 6 Sally, like the little brush
slick back,
hair,
the slick back,
hair, like absolutely fantastic. Beautiful play by Seth Jones. It's amazing what he can do when he decides he wants to pass it to a good player.
I mean, yeah, that highlight was nasty because what placement on that shot, especially since the defenseman almost like gets a stick on it too. He like has the presence of mind to get it off, and just awesome. And it's funny too because like I know I didn't watch the game, but I saw the highlight and I saw that like the Hawks were getting outshot like 14-2 at that point. I was like, God.
Carolina was all over them, and the Hawks I think end up winning that period 1-0.
Yeah,
or tied 1-1.
No, it was, they didn't tie the game until the second period.
Okay. But yeah, you know what else? It was kind of, I know it's a really rough comparison, but watching that, you know who else did that first NHL game? Nice little breakaway, defeating a defenseman to go in first shot, first goal.
Tell me.
The captain, Jonathan Toews.
That's right. Are you saying we should give Nazar the C because he's 91 and Toews was 19?
I didn't even think about that. Oh shit, the correlation right there.
Nazar is going to end up being the new Jonathan Toews. Bedard's going to be the new Patrick Kane. That'd be funny.
I mean, that'd be hilarious. But it's like
we try and compare players too much to like the dynasty.
But it's so easy, and it's like I don't think we're trying to compare them in terms of like, oh no, this player is going to be exactly like them. I think we're trying to be like, okay, who is this core and who's this era's Jonathan Toews, Patrick Kane, you know, like, and I'm not trying. When I compare them, I'm not comparing them to their skill or what the player is going to be doing. I'm comparing to like the role they play on the team.
Yeah.
So,
makes sense.
but yeah, if you're not excited after watching that, about the future of this team, and then it's like Ethan Del Mastro looked pretty good out there. He made his debut as well. I think that was against Nashville.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also Murphy made his game way back too.
Yeah. Finally came back. That was against Nashville as well. So, I mean, there's a lot going on to be excited about. Anything else you have from takeaway from the Hawks though?
I mean, the season's kind of like they're tumbling their way out of the season. Like they're struggling to score goals, but they're playing like some pretty fucking tough competition right now that are like gearing up for the playoffs. And I don't know. I feel like sometimes the Hawks are just like, oh man, I just want this to be over right now.
Yeah, I mean they've Vegas 3-1. They've only scored the 4 games that since we last recorded, they've only scored, was it 6 goals?
Yeah.
And we're outscored 17?
Yeah.
17-6?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
slow and steady. No fault though on like, because even against Vegas, Mrazek was insane. It was like on Hulu and like ESPN Plus, and they just kept talking about like, are they going to even be able to beat Mrazek during this game? And like the Hawks were just so much time spent in their own zone, and like Brady McNabb ends up scoring a goal because there's so much traffic in front of the net that Mrazek can't even see where it's at. And then Mike Amadio just absolutely, what a fucking shot that was. Oh my God. But that game ended with an empty net. The Carolina game also ended with an empty net. The St. Louis game was, what a travesty. The first 4 shots go in. Mrazek first 3 shots of Mrazek goes in, gets pulled, and then Soderblom lets up 1 immediately. And I'm just like, I have to turn this off.
Yeah,
and I didn't because fucking
he ended up having Soderblom.
I'm like, there's no way they can do it a 5th time.
Soderblom actually ended up having a pretty good game that one when he calmed down a bit.
I mean, after the first 4 shots, technically the Hawks won the game. Like, if you really want to get into it, the Hawks second period on, they won 2-1. That's all I'm saying. Nashville's always got our number right now too. So all in all, like it could have been better, give or take like 2 empty netters and then 6 terrible minutes against St. Louis, it wasn't like the worst it could have possibly been.
We'll talk more about like the Hawks season as a whole next week. We want to really focus on playoff preview and that kind of stuff. But the one thing going into this rebuild that I kind of was wondering how it was going to play out, and we kind of got the answer a little bit. I was curious how the quote unquote new fans, like, and when I say that, the people that came around when the first cup happened and all that, how are they going to react to a team that is going to be bad, that's not going to be expected to compete, and are doing this rebuild for the first time? And the team's going to end up finishing 4th in the league in attendance, average attendance. So people are still coming out to this to watch this team. And then I know it's the Bedard effect. That's a huge
that's a huge factor.
But Bedard missed a ton of games, and they were still averaging between like 16 and 17,000 people at the United Center, I believe, when Bedard was out. So any question about whether the Hawks fan base is just full of bandwagoners that were going to jump off the second they started losing? I think you could put that to rest, because they show that they do care about this team, and everybody, I think everybody knows what's being built here.
Yeah.
And they just got to get through the next couple seasons to get back to that glory.
Yeah, I think that the next couple of years could be a little bit more surprising than like some people think, with how quickly, like, man, like just watching Nazar in those first 2 games, like I didn't see the Carolina, but even against Vegas, like Vegas is tough as shit defensively. And there's times where there was one opportunity that he had, like the first opportunity of the game, where he's surrounded, only one in the offensive zone, surrounded by 4 players, and he's taken straight to the slot and to get a shot off. And I was like, what the fuck? And then Zach Whitecloud tries to, I didn't really catch this, so I saw like a highlight on either Instagram or it was on Reddit, and it was just like Zach Whitecloud tries to line him up against the boards, and he absorbs the hit. Whitecloud goes down, Nazar keeps going, and apparently the play-by-play guy was saying that it was a welcome to the NHL hit, and I was like, what?
Like,
yeah, for what? For Whitecloud? Like Nazar, who's like 5'10", 175, versus Whitecloud, who's like probably at least 6'2", 6'3", like over 200 pounds, and he stays on his feet and Whitecloud goes down. It's like,
is that the one that Whiteclaw ends up like almost like horizontal with the ice after hitting during the hit?
Yeah, I think so.
It was like a big hit. It was a big hit. Like Nazar did take a little bit, but he never lost his edge there. Like,
no, he kept going.
Yeah, so
he was very impressive against the little reigning Stanley Cup champions. I was like, oh, damn, okay, yeah,
that's your welcome to the NHL moment. Carolina Hurricanes, and then the Vegas Golden Knights is your 2 games, and then your next one, your last game of your season. Your first season is the LA Kings, another team that right now is fighting for playoff position, going in game 82. Like,
yeah, that's tough. But I mean, like, you also get to just end your year in LA rather than back at University of Michigan,
right? Harbor, and he's from Michigan, so he would have been in Michigan regardless.
Oh, true, yeah. That's kind of cool. Like, you get to spend, I don't know, you probably get to spend some more time in LA than like just having to fly back to Chicago right away, unless like they probably have to travel as a team or anything.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Hawks, one more game against LA tonight. It's another late game, 9:00. So if you're jonesing for one more attempt of just being disappointed and just absorb pain, then yeah, tune in. If not, playoff hockey starts Saturday, so you got some good hockey to watch here. Anything before we switch to NHL?
The other thing too, I thought was pretty cool that Richardson did throw a line together of Kurashev, Connor Bedard, and Frank Nazar.
No shit, did he?
Yeah, a couple times in Vegas. Like, he was like putting Nazar on that line because he was buzzing. And I was like, oh fuck! Like,
how did it look?
It was awesome. At one point at the end of the game, they had all the young guys out there. It was like Korchinski was Delmastro still with the team?
No, Delmastro didn't play.
Okay. It might have been Vlasic in like Korchinski and Bedard and Nazar and I think Kurashev. Maybe with like Seth Jones on the empty netter.
Who was who was centering that line?
It was just like on the 6-on-5. I
Oh
think that
no, I'm talking about
maybe.
like when you said he put them up together
Oh,
one time.
I don't know. I didn't catch it. Who like took the faceoffs? I think it was Nazar taking the faceoffs though.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the more I'm like looking at it, it's like I wouldn't be surprised if Bedard becomes a winger.
Yeah, that's. I mean, either way, having them on the same line would be pretty nasty.
Oh, God. And then
Because
when you really need
the
it,
way
throw
that they
Oliver
can each
Moore.
of them can drive the play, and if they can just build the chemistry to just find the other person, it's going to be disgusting. Look out for Frank Nazar with the Calder next year.
Oh yeah, or Celebrini with
Yeah.
hot screw over San Jose. The next time the Hawks will be
Oh, yeah. That's the other thing too. Yeah, the Hawks are locked in at second best odds after this
so
week.
the worst they can draft is 4.
Yes, which hopefully isn't the case, but like, I mean, I think top 4 anyway you're gonna get somebody disgusting like
Oh
going
yeah,
forward.
but
This draft is pretty nasty too, and especially with like the position the Hawks are in. There's, I mean, obviously Celebrini is like the main guy that a lot of people are looking at, but like I don't think it's as much as like Bedard over Carlson and Fantilli. I think it's like Celebrini, but like I wouldn't say that he's a guaranteed lock to be like best player out of this draft, like in the years to come. You know, like that Demidov kid is supposed to be pretty nasty. That like Caden Lindstrom, even like some of the defensemen that are highly rated are like.
I definitely think it's looked at like the Tyler Seguin Taylor Hall draft, where they're like, it can be either or, like
Yeah, I think of it as like Celebrini and all these guys probably have a very similar ceiling, but he probably is like the most NHL ready.
yeah,
That's the way I probably would feel like this is kind of shaken out to be.
that makes sense. So, all right, NHL talk here. Couple more housekeeping notes, and then we'll get to playoff previews. Marc-Andre Fleury signs a 1-year contract and will play one more season. It looks like this is it. This is the final season of his career.
Just keep going until the wheels fall off. Like it's not his fault that they played like shit this year and like
Yeah.
they had injury issues. They still almost made it into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, they put up a fight up until the very end. I mean, they ended up finishing 10 points, but right now they're 10 points behind the Kings for the last wild card spot. But
I mean,
considering their dead cap space, nobody expected them to be
yeah.
in this position.
I mean, you're missing what, like 7 games from Kaprizov, 7 games from Boldy. Zuccarello was hurt for a handful of games. Hartman was hurt or suspended for a handful of games. Jonas Brodin was hurt at some point. Marcus Foligno missed a bunch of games. Let's see. A lot of guys on their team. Brock Faber's the only one, and Marco Rossi, their 2 rookies, are the only ones that have played every single game this season.
Too bad it's not enough to win the Calder Trophy.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, if any other year, he probably has a good
100%.
argument to be in there. Especially, I think he's going to be a fantastic player going forward, and it's going to be awesome to see like how this matchup with like him and Bedard like shake out over the years. But yeah, they had some bad injury luck this year. Plus, like Philip Gustafsson didn't really repeat the kind of performance he had last year. None of their goalies had an over 90% save percentage.
Yeah, and that was the thing too, like with Minnesota going into the season, I think the biggest question for them was if their goaltending can replicate what they did last year. And that was kind of a high bar that was set going into the season from their performance last year.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that has to do with Dumba no longer being there too.
Yeah, I mean that's a big defensive piece. I mean, I know he's more of an offensive defenseman, but
yeah, but I'm sure he's a huge leader on the team too. Do you remember when Dumba used to be number 55? So his locker would say Dumba 55 and just read dumbass.
Where did Arizona trade him to?
Isn't he in Tampa? Is that right?
That might be.
Yeah, he's in Tampa.
No shit.
It's for like a 6th rounder or some shit.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, that's a great pickup. Arizona's going to get another 1st or 2nd round pick out of that."
Yeah, and then nobody was worth anything at the trade deadline, apparently.
Yeah. So, the other news that goddamn about time, it broke that the Arizona Coyotes are being sold to the NHL,
Yeah.
which are then being flipped to the owners of the Utah Jazz, and they will be relocating to Utah for next season.
Salt Lake City.
So, like, this whole timeline was absolutely insanity. You go from revealing the arena that they're building in Arizona to issuing a commitment statement to winning the bid to get the land.
Well, that was a concept arena, by the way. It wasn't like concrete plans.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is it. This is it. We're staying in Arizona. And then 4 days later, they're like, just kidding.
But at the same time, but then it's like they revealed like their commitment to winning the bid to get the land.
Yep.
And then within the same, it was like almost like same sentence just snuck in there. The owner's like, I'm also looking for somebody to spend $1 billion to buy this team for me.
Yeah.
And it was like, wait, what is going on? And then, like you said, a couple days later, it broke out that the NHL had 2 schedules made up for next season. One with the team in Arizona, one with the team in Salt Lake City. And everybody's like, what the hell's going on? And then the team finds out on a road trip, and not even like in person or anything like this, that the team is being sold.
Yeah.
And then a couple days later, Bill, or what's the GM's name? Armstrong.
For Arizona?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I thought you were going to talk about Morello, who's like the owner.
No, but Armstrong flies down there finally and has a conversation with them around the road.
Yeah.
They're in Montreal, talks about it, makes it official. And pretty much that announced that the 18th will be the last day of Arizona Coyote hockey.
I thought it was the 17th. It's tonight.
Oh, it's tonight the last game?
Yeah, it's the 17th. Like
I think
their
the
tickets have been going for like thousands of dollars.
So tonight's the last game. Tomorrow is when they're announcing. I think the NHL is planning on announcing all the changes. I think maybe that's what it was.
I'm curious, like, do they already have like everything set up, or is it gonna fly through over the summer? Like, what kind of shit is this?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I thought it was hilarious that Fanatics taking over jerseys asked the teams to not make any major changes.
Well, I'm sure it's fine because not all the teams are doing it. It's just one team.
No, I know, but like it was just funny. Fanatics was like, no major changes. Let's wait till our version of the jersey is set and ready, and then we can do all the changes you want. And then Arizona's like, huh, fuck you, we're moving our team, and then start all brand new.
They'll just have the same jerseys. They'll just
That would be
the
hilarious.
Arizona Coyotes of Salt Lake City.
But here is the thing that I get really irritated with is Gary Bettman and his hard on for Arizona. There's already rumors that if the ownership group that is selling the Coyotes are maintaining the Coyotes hockey name and their identity and all that, so it won't be the same name. But
I guess so.
But
they could be Coyotes too.
Yeah, if they're able to secure the land and build the arena, they will be awarded an expansion franchise in 27-28.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. I think it's funny, one, because like the team that you have paid for and like had a hand in like picking the GM to like build that team, you're like, all right, fine, fuck it, whatever, we'll start all over.
Yeah. But then you got to imagine.
Do they get to choose in the expansion draft from the Salt Lake City team?
Oh God, that would be amazing.
Like if that happens, like everybody on the team is just like, I guess I'll just keep my house in Arizona just in case.
Yeah, right. But then too, so that pretty much means that Atlanta, the rumors about Atlanta getting a team,
get another one on the East.
Yeah, there'll be one out there to even things out.
And when are they going to stop with the fucking expansion? Like when is there too many teams?
I saw one hockey writer say that he still firmly believes that the league will be 36 teams.
36. Okay.
So that's 4 more.
That's okay. At least if the divisions are equal, I feel like 40 is way too much.
Oh God.
36 makes sense in a way that like not half the league makes the playoffs. It's just I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Fuck.
I think it should be 30.
Go back to 30.
Go back to 30. But it's all about money. But
yeah, I mean, it's more exciting, I feel like, with that amount of teams though too, because you get some guys that might not make rosters in specific teams, but like shine on like the teams that they're on.
I'm just curious though too, because it's like I know the talent pool is a lot deeper now in the NHL, but is it deep enough to have this many competitive like teams and be competitive, or are we going to be seeing like Atlanta 3.0 where
that's happening for sure.
But it's like, but I mean, like how they were so bad, like Atlanta, Columbus, Nashville, Minnesota, all those expansion drafts were just those teams sucked.
Yeah.
Like, are there enough good players that these teams maybe not be playoff contenders, Vegas style right away, but also not be putting up 7 wins in their first season?
I don't know. Maybe. I feel like hockey's just getting better, but like also guys are able to play longer because it's not as like fucking take your legs out, take your knees out, like rip your head off. Yeah, a little bit more finesse, a little bit more skill. Even though like you get guys like Brady Tkachuk and Matthew Tkachuk that can do all of it, like those guys are going to dominate.
Yeah. So
I don't know. You just gotta assume. Like Vegas does so well too because like their ownership group is like we're spending money. We're going to be up against the cap. I do not fucking care. That's how they got it done. Seattle is taking their time a little bit more and being like, hey, like we're going to build up with like what we have. And I'm sure like once they have a solid core, which they're like working on, and then they'll spend the money. I don't know. There's two different philosophies because at the end of this year, Vegas is going to probably dump somebody off, and
you have to.
I'm going to bet it's going to be somebody like William Karlsson or Pietrangelo.
Karlsson's got to go. He's the last original misfit.
No, Marchessault.
Oh, that's right. He's still there.
Oh, Marchessault, actually, his contract's going to be up. So I'm sure they're probably just not going to re-sign him. They don't have the fucking money.
That was one thing, too. The owner of the Utah Jazz, I'm blanking on his name right now. But he said that he's committed to spending up to the cap to make this team competitive right away, which
great. I mean, those guys that are in that Arizona, I mean, guys like Clayton Keller, right? He's been there his whole career. If they really plan on like making that team competitive, bringing guys in, sure, he's gonna love it.
They're not that bad. I mean, they're not realistically that far off.
No, they're not. They have a lot of really good young talent. It's just they keep making those weird signings for guys like Dumba, Zucker, like bringing guys in that they are going to try and flip all the time rather than like actual assets to like be on this team and play for this team.
I'm just very curious to see how much of a house cleaning it's going to be within management and coaching if they're going to start completely fresh or they're going to let these guys continue their job out there.
Oh, they're doing a whiteout tonight.
We know hockey games move fast, but with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, you can score faster than anything happening on the ice. This week, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app with code THPN. New customers bet just $5 on the NHL and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-878-97777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours of issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligible and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gambling resources. NHL and NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2024. All rights reserved. Oh, Arizona?
Yeah.
The top comment.
Yeah,
You're supposed to wear black to funerals.
you gotta love it.
Oh man. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. And I guess a lot of the players are excited for the situation. They're happy to get out of Mullet Arena and go into like an actual stadium.
Yeah, that'll be nice because like not being in such limbo. It's funny though, because right, Salt Lake City's AHL team's gonna play out of Mullet Arena now too.
Well, they're the
The
Tufts.
Tucson Roadrunners are gonna
Yeah,
play out of
they're
Mullet.
moving into Mullet.
That's so dumb. See, that's one of those things where like when we were talking about college players not signing to just go play in the AHL, that I forgot to mention too was just like, can you imagine deciding to not play somewhere like North Dakota, Minnesota, or Michigan that has like this incredible hockey atmosphere to go play in the AHL in like fucking Rockford? Like, no way.
Cooley.
Cooley's in Arizona.
But
Like,
I'm
he's
saying
on
the arena though.
but
He left.
it's still a college arena.
Yeah, I mean, he left like a fucking sick arena in Minnesota.
Yeah, but he's also going to be he's making like he's playing the NHL teams.
Yeah.
He's not like going to like AHL barn to AHL barn.
That's fair. All right, you said you had a couple quick notes too.
No.
Oh yeah. I remember.
This is about playoffs. I got stuff.
Oh well, here. Last game for Toronto and Tampa tonight.
Yes.
Could see something historic. Austin Matthews, 70 goals. First time since, what was it, like?
Solani,
I think. Yeah. And then Kucherov, 100 assists. First player to do that since McDavid did last week.
No, like 2 days ago.
Yeah. He'll be the fifth player to do it, the 14th all time. Again,
can he assist on McDavid or on Matthews' 70th? Like that would be the best.
Kucherov accidentally turns it over to Matthews, and then
not accidentally, just fucking feeds him right in front. He's like, "You and me, we're doing this together."
All right, let's get into some playoff prediction. Let's start in the Eastern Conference since we know exactly what matchups are going on there.
Yeah.
So boom. First matchup we're talking about here, the New York Rangers ends up winning the President's Trophy Award. So they're not going to win the cup this year. Versus the Washington Capitals, who have the worst goal differential for a playoff team since I think it was 91, when Hartford and the Vancouver Canucks did it. Head-to-head series is tied 2-2. Goals for, tied 9 for each. A little bit of difference in their top performer, Panarin, 120 points. Dylan Strome, 67 points. Goaltending. This is going to be an interesting story, I think, for Washington. I don't see Lindridge being a guy that really Lindgren, sorry. Lindgren really being the guy to like take him, but I don't know. Who knows? What do you think about this series?
I'm assuming Kemper's like hurt or Kemper's just not shit this year. I don't think that Washington stands a chance. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, they get in on the last game of the season. The only reason they got in is because Torts totally fucked over Detroit, which that's the story I'm saying with. Torts knew what he was doing. He made the play. He decided to, hey, we're not going to the playoffs, so we are going to screw over Detroit. Pulls the goalie with 4 minutes left. Washington gets empty net goal and secures their trip to the Stanley Cup playoffs.
I'm trying to see if there's anybody that Torts had play for him that he would just be like, I hate that guy. We're gonna lose on purpose. Yeah, it's so funny the way that shook out too, because like apparently the game started at the same time, right? But then there was that goal review that delayed Philly's game for a little bit, and so Detroit tying the game and going into OT happens, and then not even like 2 minutes later, like Philly pulls their goalie, not knowing that Detroit already eliminated them, and so they end up eliminating Detroit in that.
Which is funny. You think like with the iPads and all that kind of stuff nowadays, they'd have a little.
But they're not focused on it, right? Like they're not focused on Detroit. They're focused on their game at hand.
Which again, though, it's why I don't think it would change anything.
Yeah.
If they knew or not, I think Torts still would have done the exact same thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just on the firm belief that like they probably still had a chance, even though they would have been eliminated once Detroit went to OT.
All right. I'm taking the Rangers in 5.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty safe bet. I honestly haven't even thought about like how many games, but like I would honestly say 4.
4.
Yeah. Except for yeah, I'll just say 4 because why the fuck not? I just think Washington does not belong in the playoffs at all.
No, but I also think Ovi can steal Washington a game.
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think he's gonna steal a game because I feel like Rangers they got too much. They have too much going on for that team to have one guy just take them out.
That's fair. All right. Let's move on.
Let me just see. The Rangers have Panarin, Trocheck, Kreider, Fox, and Zibanejad that all finished with more points than Dylan Strome. And even Lafreniere, 57 points in 82 games. He almost had 30 goals this year.
Damn. People said they wouldn't trade for him. All right, next series, Carolina Hurricanes taking on the New York Islanders. Head-to-head, Carolina won this series 2-1-1. Close though scoring affair. Carolina 16 goals for New York Islanders 14. Sebastian Aho 89 points, Barzal 80 points. I am assuming Frederick Anderson is going to get the nod in that due to experience and him just being on a fucking tear since coming back.
Healthy again?
He's been back and he's just been tearing it up. Most of the numbers there is from when he returned.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorkin down year with like wins and losses and all that kind of stuff, but I mean still 299 goals.
Score fucking a goal most of the year.
So I think this is going to be similar to the Rangers Capitals.
Mm-hmm.
I have more confidence in the Islanders stealing a game in this one than I do the Capitals. But yeah, like I said, Carolina, we talked about them earlier. They're just a beast of a different animal. Like they're geared to go.
As of right now, Islanders have one more game left tonight, like before this goes out. They're 8-1-1 in their last 10, but the Islanders are also minus 18 in goal differential in the season.
Yeah, I mean, they got hot at the right time.
Well, they also lost, or they had 16 overtime losses, which was the most in the NHL. So
that was crazy looking at Sorkin's stats: 24, 19, and 12.
Yeah, that's weird.
God, damn.
Here's the thing. So looking at the teams that are in the playoffs, or just the teams in general, over the last 20 games or so, it's basically from like March 1st. Carolina is one of the top 2 teams in the league.
Oh yeah.
And the Islanders, they're 9th. So like I think it's gonna end up being a little bit more competitive than some people might think. Because all right, so Carolina 16-5-1 in their last 22 games. So I'm just gonna say since March 1st, 16-5-1, and Islanders are 13-7-2. So like those are pretty fucking close stats. This is gonna be a pretty tight matchup. Islanders still have another game tonight against Pittsburgh, which doesn't mean anything for either team right now. So I'm curious if they're going to end up resting some guys because they can't move anywhere. They're locked in.
Yeah, I mean the East
do not play Sorokin and like get him injured for some freak fucking reason. Last game of the year, it doesn't mean anything. So yeah, I think going into this game, the differential in points, I don't think should really matter as much as like what the teams have done recently, and this could go, I think, probably 7.
Who you taking?
I still take Carolina just because I think that they're a much more complete team. But the issue with Carolina, like every year, does Svechnikov stay healthy?
I was literally just about to ask that.
Kid, man. I was just like, what is it? What's the thing with them? Oh yeah, Svech gets hurt, and then their goaltending is a carousel because somebody gets hurt. But there's such a they're a team flooded with so much talent that like they can plug and play some guys. One of my favorite emerging players on this team too, Seth Jarvis.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait to see what he does. He had 33 goals, 34 assists this year. Fucking kid's a stud.
Aho was on that What Chaos show.
Yeah.
And they were talking about Seth Jarvis, and they're like talking about how like he had any good moments in the locker room, and Aho just laughs. He's like, "No, I got to keep that between us. Like, I got to keep that in the locker room."
Yeah. I
Um,
low key hope that like he doesn't get like they can't re-sign him or something. The Hawks just like toss an offer sheet.
yeah. I'm taking Carolina in 6. I just think they're like a more complete team here. This is now we're getting to the series that I think are going to be the most watched in the Eastern Conference here.
Oh yeah.
First up, you have Florida Panthers versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Battle of Florida. Head to head, Florida won the series 2-1. Goals for Florida was 15. Tampa was only able to score 9 against them. You got Sam Reinhart having a career year, 94 points. Most of those were goals.
57.
Yeah, 57 goals. And then Kucherov just absolutely fucking a fantastic season, 142 points. You got Bob, you got Vasilevsky. I mean, this one I think is going 7.
This one is sick.
Like,
yeah, I could see it going 7. I still have up those stats though, from March 1st, right? So, who do you think has the better record since March 1st? Tampa, yeah. They actually have the same amount of wins because Tampa's 12-5-2, and then Florida's 12-8-2.
Tampa or Florida, yeah, Florida had like a rough patch where people were like, "Uh-oh, like, are they gonna flare out?" I mean, Florida's on a mission. They lose in the Stanley Cup final last year. I mean, they bring back almost the entirely same team.
Yeah, minus a couple, just a couple though.
Like, yeah. Tampa Bay's got something to prove that they're not washed. Coming off a couple disappointing playoff runs after going back to back.
Yeah, I'm curious how this is gonna shake out. Like, I'm actually just looking at like Florida's stats right now. Reinhardt 94, Matthew Tkachuk 88, Barkov 80, Verhaeghe 72, and then it drops to 41 with Bennett. I know Brandon Montour, he had a sick goal recently too. Just clapped it the top shelf. Jesus Christ.
Did he miss a decent part of the start of the season?
He did. Yeah, he only played 66 games, so he missed close to 20.
Ekblad should be back 2 for game 1.
Oh yeah, is he? Okay, cool. Yeah, he only played 51 games.
Yeah, I think they were projecting that he would be back by game 1.
I forgot that they traded for Okposo. And also Tarasenko. Oh, Tarasenko had 14 points in 19 games with them. Uh-oh. That'd be pretty nasty if he tears
I'm going with my heart on this one, man. I want Florida to win. I'm taking Florida in 7.
Oh, I'll take Tampa in 7.
Tampa?
Yeah. I don't know. Tampa losing last year too in the first round to Toronto. I'm sure they're like, not again.
Not doing this.
No fucking way.
Speaking of Toronto,
the
matchup.
Their old demons arise again.
Will this finally be the year that Toronto gets over the hump? Have they been waiting just to slay the big bad Boston Bruins to go on the way to the Stanley Cup final and win their first cup since 1967? Tanner, what do you think?
Absolutely not. I think there's no fucking way they do.
Head-to-head, Boston won the series. 2 wins, no losses, and 2 overtime losses. Toronto's only managed to score 7 goals against Boston, where Boston was able to 15. You have Austin Matthews, 69 goals for 107 points. Pasternak, 110 points. You got Samsonov, and then you got Swayman in net. And
are they possible? I mean, they not only do they have swing, but they got Allmark too. If anything goes
and I was
wrong.
gonna say though too, it's like hopefully they learned from last year's mistake by not waiting to pull the trigger and going with the other goalie a little bit quicker. And because that was a whole issue, that was a whole debate about them losing the first round last year if they should have made the goalie change sooner. So yeah, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I think it's gonna go back to classic Toronto and losing in 7. We're gonna hit the old classic one. So Boston in 7, probably in OT, probably coming from behind at the end too. Man, it's just Toronto has more superstars, but Boston has a better full team.
They got better depth, and their guys know what to do.
And the thing too is their star players like Pasternak and Marchand, those guys know how to show up.
So I want to take Toronto in this one. I want to say they finally get over the hump. I mean, this team's been looking good this year, especially as of late too. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. But what you've always said the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, until Toronto does it, I'm not picking them. So I am going to go with your mindset, and I'm going to take Boston in 7.
Yeah. You know who's going to ruin Toronto's season? I can tell you right now.
Who's that?
James Van Riemsdyk.
Oh, God. That would overtime.
Yeah.
Game 7. Yeah. KVR.
It's going to happen. I'm telling you right now, it's going to fucking happen.
We'll have to put Noli on a suicide watch if that happens.
Yeah.
Jesus. All right. So
Toronto just every year, man, they go in without the defense and without the goaltending, and they're like, yeah, we'll do it. This is the year we're gonna do it, and then half of their guys don't even show up to play.
Yeah, I want to. It's like I want Toronto to do good. I want to like them, but it's just like I don't know. They're just to me they're just full of individuals.
Yeah, and the fan base acts like they've won the cup every year for the past 6 years.
All demanding these high end contracts, all that kind of stuff. That's just like, how do you expect to win when you can't get the depth around you because your entire team is being paid by 3 forwards?
Yeah.
So I don't know. All right, let's move on to the Western Conference, and we're going to start with the only series that we know for sure is a lock, and that's going to be the Colorado Avalanche versus the Winnipeg Jets. And when I was putting this one together, I was shocked at the head-to-head between these guys.
Avalanche and where's the fucking Jets? Oh yeah, they're pretty close in this lineup.
Winnipeg wins the series 3-0 and outscores Colorado 17-4.
Yeah, that's insane. If they just have their number. I know the last game though they won 7-0. This past week. Yeah, this past week. Put the touchdown on them. God damn, dude. Yeah, this is insane, this matchup, because looking at just top scorers, right? McKinnon almost doubles Scheifele's points, which is insane. And then looking at the actual matchup, 3-0 Winnipeg, 17 goals for. Jesus.
Just look at Bucky's numbers.
Yeah, he's nasty. That's the funny thing too, right? Georgiev or whatever, he has the wins, but that's because Colorado can put in the puck. If Colorado's not scoring, he's not saving them games.
Colorado is built for whoever you put in net. It doesn't matter because the team around them is going to bail them out.
Oh, damn. I think Colorado, did they score the most goals this year? 299. Oh, Toronto also put 299 in. 257, 253. Okay. Damn. I guess Colorado has another game left too. And Toronto has another game left too. So one of those teams, they're gonna probably hit 300. That's pretty neat.
Who do you like in this one?
I mean, looking at the head-to-head, it's hard to argue against Winnipeg, right? But
Yeah.
playoff McKinnon, it's one of those, like, that's a dude. That's a guy that will shift a playoff series. And unlike how Ovechkin can do a little bit of a playoff series shift, he doesn't have the supporting cast like a Makar or a Rantanen in order to, like, assist him in that kind of endeavor.
Right. I'm taking Colorado in 7, but I think it's going to be one of those that's going to be super close. And if this does go Winnipeg's way, I'm not going to be shocked.
Yeah, I can also see Winnipeg doing their, like, disappearing act in the playoffs. It's like what a weird year it's been for Winnipeg, right? Like they go from squeaking into the playoffs last year, getting demolished by Vegas, to a summer of what are they going to do with Scheifele and Hellebuck? Like, are they going to trade them? Are they going to do anything? They trade away PLD, get the better half of the return, and then re-sign Hellebuck and re-sign Scheifele on long-term deals. And all of a sudden, they're like top team in the league, and it's like, what the fuck happened? Like, they got rid of Blake Wheeler too, and it's just like, what is going on?
They were fucking fighting for the division title up until recently.
Yeah.
I mean, they're on a 7-game win streak right now.
Yes. The teams since March 1st are pretty close. Colorado is 12-6-2, Winnipeg 14-8-1. So very similar in points or just like winning percentage. Winnipeg surprisingly has more goals scored in that time frame though, and less goals against. So if Winnipeg can still be like the hotter team towards the end of the season and into the playoffs, I can see them pulling it off. It's funny because like they're ahead of them in the standings, but I would still take them as the underdogs.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Does Landeskog come back?
I know, that's what I was thinking too. Like, is it going to be one of those big?
If he does come back too, is like how effective is it though?
I hope he comes back and it's like in your starting lineup, your captain like kind of comes out the tunnel. Nobody knows
that's
about
Landeskog's music. Just a fucking Swedish national anthem. Like, I think that this is going to be a really exciting series. Geez. I'd probably take Winnipeg just based off of like their head-to-head matchup, but I wouldn't be surprised if like Colorado just is like, it's like the Michael Jordan thing where he's like, and I took offense to that or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they just absolutely sweep them. Like some shit like that could happen. But I would say, damn, I can't say like all these series go 7. I'm saying like 4 or 7 for like everything. But this one's got to go 7.
Yeah.
This one I think goes 7. Fuck, man, probably OT. It's in Winnipeg. If it goes 7, I'd still say, fuck. I gotta go Winnipeg.
Winnipeg in 7.
Nah, I gotta change it. I gotta go Colorado in 7.
All right, we're going Colorado 7.
There's no chance in hell. If it's in Winnipeg, it doesn't matter. But if it's OT game 7, then McKinnon does not just absolutely tear through everybody.
Yeah, that's fair.
Have you seen the shit he's been on lately? It's crazy.
So now we are getting into some interesting territory here because we know the main one half of each of these matchups, and it's the other half that we don't know yet. So let's look at Dallas and who they could possibly face. We'll find out in the next couple of days or so. But Dallas versus Nashville, 2-for-2 tie. Dallas versus Vegas, 0-1-2. Dallas versus LA, Dallas swept them.
Okay, yeah, you threw it around. Wait, Vegas won the series against Dallas?
Yeah. Technically, I don't know. That's what I was wondering because they both technically got 2 points.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, because I missed
I typed it up wrong. How you did this.
I typed it up wrong. That's on me.
Did they go 1-0-2 against Vegas, or did Vegas go 1-0-2 against Dallas?
Vegas went 2-0-1 against Dallas. I typed it up. I reverse typed it.
Oh, okay, got it. All right,
that's on me. Yeah. So Vegas 2.
But they were 2 overtime losses.
Yes.
Oh, okay, so Dallas went 1-0-2.
Yes.
Okay, so then you have it right. I'm just you.
But no, but I'm saying like I
You
meant to
wrote
put,
Vegas though. That's the thing.
right.
Okay,
I
whatever.
meant to do Vegas's record, so it should have been 2-0-1 on the screen for Vegas.
Oh, okay. I thought you should. I feel like you should have just put Dallas
Yeah,
record
whatever.
against them.
Whatever. It's fine. Yeah.
It's fine. We got it. We got to figure it out.
All right. So let's go Dallas versus Nashville.
Doesn't matter. Dallas wins.
Dallas wins. All right. Just for graphic parts, what are you taking? Dallas in 5?
I'll take Dallas in 6 in every one of these series.
Dallas in 6 in all of them?
All of them. The hottest team in the NHL since March 1st is Dallas. The second hottest team, Carolina Hurricanes.
See, I got Dallas in 5 versus Nashville. I got Dallas in 6 against LA. And then I have Dallas in 7 against Vegas.
I'll take Dallas in 6 against everybody on that team or every other team there.
I honestly would not be surprised if it ends up being Dallas versus Carolina.
Yeah, I think that's what we're destined for until Carolina probably gets swept in the Eastern Conference Final.
All right. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about complete hockey teams when you're talking about like Carolina and stuff like that. I mean, and we have been riding, Jim Neal and his whole, process of building this team and how we hope that KD takes the same, blueprint from him. It's just, this is it. I mean, this is perfection right here on how to build a hockey team.
Yeah, you have the perfect mix of veterans, youth, like your guys that are hitting their perfect age of being at the top of their game. It's insane. This team is built for this. Fuck, man. Like, even all right. So Jason Robertson leads the team 80 points. The rest of the team is all like right behind him. Like, there's guys on the third line with like Wyatt Johnston has 65 points. Rupe Hintz 65 points. Matt Duchene 64 points. That's your 3 centers for the top 3 lines.
And people think it like, oh man, nobody broke 100 points on that team. No, it's more. I think to me, it's more impressive when your leading scorer has got like between 75 and 80 points, and the next guy is right there.
Yeah,
like those giant gaps. It's like you're relying on one player. Like this is next man up. Any single person, any single night can beat you and carry this team. Like that is a hell of a lot more impressive and important to me than having 100-point plus guy on your team.
Yeah, the fact that like they also are about to hit 300 goals. Like if they score 4, I don't know when their next game is. I think it might be, is it tonight? Then they're it's incredible. I just fucking don't know how to. This team, man. Fuck, they're so good. Ottinger in net too. If he can just become a brick wall, which is so possible. I'm just looking at this team, just like, God damn it.
Yeah. Vancouver.
Oh, I forgot. All right, Sagan's not even on that lineup right now, too, on cap friendly.
Vancouver was the surprise, I think, of the season among the playoff teams. They won 3-0 against Nashville. They tied Vegas 2-2, and they won 3-1 against LA. How you feeling about their matchups?
I think this is going to end up being like a year where Vancouver is going to be disappointed and then be one of the most dangerous teams next year. So I feel like this is going to not really go their way and probably like losing like 5 or 6. I'd say it probably, I don't know, they probably end up losing in 7 to Nashville, because that's just going to be upsetting. They would probably lose in like 6 to both LA and Vegas.
All right. You said, sorry, I'll write down mine real quick here. So Nashville, you have them losing in 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then 6, you said, for Vegas and LA.
Yeah.
All right. I think they like their matchup better against Nashville. I think they take it against Nashville. I think they go 6 games versus Nashville. I think LA, they put up a good fight, but they end up losing in 7.
Yeah.
And then I just think Vegas is gonna. I take Vegas in 5 or 6, especially
everybody comes off of LTIR
exactly.
for this.
Yeah, especially with their full legit, no salary cap, no rules team is out there. Vegas is a fucking problem. So I mean, I'm gonna say Vegas in 6 if that one happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, this team I think is gonna be dangerous, especially too if they can start getting out of cap hell a little bit here, which I think they're very close, and they're gonna be able to, spend money on quality players versus the overspend they had on a bunch of guys. This is definitely not the end for Vancouver. That's for damn sure.
No, like they have their guys locked up that are going to be there. Like JT Miller, Elias Pettersson's his new deal starts next year, but him and Quinn Hughes and Miller are going to be even better next year. Quinn Hughes, he almost had like an assist per game this season. Let's see, 74.
I mean, he's winning the Norris Trophy.
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna be really, really good. It's just, yeah, Tyler Myers no longer gonna be making $6 million. They have the opportunity to sign some defensemen or like rework some contracts, really. But like their main 3 guys with Hughes, Miller, and Pettersson are gonna be here for a while. They got another year of Besser at 6.5. Yeah, how was he finishing this season with? 40 goals. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he had a big bounce back year.
That's good. I wish we could have got him for cheap.
Yeah. All right. Last series / matchup we're waiting on is the Edmonton Oilers. They will face either Vegas or LA. They took the season series 2-1 against Edmonton or against Vegas, and then 3-1 against LA. Strictly because of my preseason prediction, I am taking them to win either of these series in 6 games against LA and then in 7 games against Vegas. It's only because I only picked. They're only because they're my Cup final pick or my Stanley Cup champion pick. That's the only reason I'm picking them. I don't trust them.
If they play LA, I wonder if LA has a big enough chip on their shoulder to like really shut them down from the last 2 years. Because honestly, like if Deneau gets that, like now that they have PLD too, if he's able to match up well against Draisaitl or McDavid, and they got Deneau against one or the other, kind of free up Kopitar. I mean, they have such good defensive centers, and I think I feel like towards the end of the year, like PLD was getting his fucking head right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, LA's gonna be kind of dangerous. Obviously, it's fucking Edmonton, and more guys have contributed this year than they have in the past, with like Zach Hyman getting 50 plus goals. I don't know. It's gonna be, I think, pretty close. I see that one going 7. Whereas if they're playing Vegas, Vegas is scary as hell. But it's like it's the whole chip on the shoulder thing. Like I feel like Edmonton has a bigger chip on their shoulder against Vegas and probably plays them harder. And LA probably has a bigger chip on their shoulder against Edmonton and probably plays them harder. And so I could see LA winning in 7 and then Edmonton winning in 7 against Vegas.
So LA winning and Edmonton winning if it's Vegas.
Yeah.
Damn. All right. Well, not going to be much longer until we have to wait to see what happens. We'll know what the matchups are going to be by, I think, a decent amount tonight, right?
Yeah. Tonight there's going to be we'll know for sure on Dallas where they're going to finish. I guess, it's going to be tomorrow.
It's got to be more because I'm in
airs.
LA.
Because Vancouver, here's the thing. If Dallas gets a point, then they're locked in, right? First in the West. Let me see. I got to pull it back up. So Dallas gets a point. They're first in the West. If Dallas loses, Vancouver has a chance to jump them based off of regulation wins, even if they tie in points. I think personally that Vegas, Nashville, and LA finish where they're at currently because Vegas ends up playing Anaheim in their last game. So I think that's an easy dub. And LA plays the Hawks, but it does not matter if the Hawks lose because I think Vegas wins. And LA can't jump Nashville because it's after regulation wins. It's also then regulation plus overtime wins, and that's where Nashville wins.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I really do think it's going to end up being Edmonton versus Vegas, and I think Edmonton takes that in 7. LA, that's where I'm not sure if Vancouver or Dallas, right?
Yeah.
So that's tough. If Vancouver plays Nashville, I think Nashville takes them out. If Vancouver plays LA, I still think it's a possibility. I don't know. Nashville has the better goalie, in my opinion, out of those teams.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
You see.
So, all right.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. And hockey is always better when the Hawks aren't in the playoffs just because you can relax. Your heart rate is not jumping out of your goddamn chest. But I can't wait for that feeling again in watching the Hawks compete for the Stanley Cup. But I'm glad to watch a bunch of games and have nothing in on it, and whatever happens.
Yeah, I can't wait to find out who plays Saturday because it better be like Toronto and Boston, and then Florida and Tampa.
Yeah,
it's not gonna be because they're all in the same division. But
those are the 2 series that I'm gonna make sure if I can only watch 2 games of the playoffs each night or whatever. Those are the 2 games I want to watch.
It's those games, the Colorado and Winnipeg series. I think those are my top 3 series right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking I'm actually really interested. No, actually, I'm not. Never mind. I'm not interested in either New York series.
Honestly, though, that Carolina Islanders series could be pretty electric. I honestly, I'm talking myself out of that now because Islanders play boring ass fucking hockey. I think those games are going to be close, but not electric.
They always. I mean, Islanders hockey is the most boring shit ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not interested in any of those. I only would have been interested in New York Rangers if it was Detroit because I've always said it from get-go. The Panarin, Kaner, DeBrincat love triangle on the national stage would have been fucking awesome.
Yep.
But yeah, I agree with you in the top 3 series for sure. I mean, everything else in the West, it's I really don't care.
Yeah.
So I mean, all right. Episode 271.
Playoff preview.
Keep it simple.
Nice and easy. 2023-24.
All right. So that's episode 271. Make sure to follow us on your favorite podcast feed, Spotify and Apple Podcasts are the big 2. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, social media at WCB Podcast, DraftKings promo code THPN. And yeah, playoff hockey, baby. Enjoy. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Love you, boys. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the WCB Podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast. To connect with Jarom and Tanner, check out the boys at WCB Podcast on all social media. We'll see you next time.